Right, right,
The
right.
way we, yeah, the way.
It's hard. I mean, I did it like, I think 2 issues for Classic. I was trying to get like toy cars, and it was a nightmare. Are you ready? Here we go. Man, thank God for Ken Gross. Those are great. He wrote half the issue.
That's McCall's Motorworks revival.
McCall's Motorworks revival. Yeah. Wow. 4:15. Let him wait.
Let him wait.
Let him eat cake.
Yeah.
We're getting ready.
Thinking about that. Something for all of you. Podcast went away, but like there's something they went away for a while, and now it's back. Tammy listens to 5 Game of Thrones podcasts. Yes. 5 Game of Thrones? Something like that.
Is it Game of Thrones podcast?
I don't know.
My wife
I
does.
don't want to know.
My wife does the Eagles, the football team.
She's an Eagles fan.
She found a way to play local Philly sports radio 24 hours a day in my house. It's insane. It's just,
iHeartRadio app.
it's just like, I thought local LA sports was terrible.
Oh, I bet.
Oh my God.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
You think Andy Reid is Satan or the devil? It's insane. It's insane.
Oh, that's
Come on, boys. Let's get this show on the road. Hello and welcome to Wide Open Throttle, live during Monterey Car Week, powered by Infiniti. And we're coming to you live from the Infiniti Performance Pavilion here on Peter Hay Hill at Pebble Beach. I'd like to thank Infiniti for supporting Monterey Car Week on the Motor Trend channel, and I hope you've all been enjoying our classic car themed programming on the channel. Joining me today are Automobile Editor-in-Chief Mike Floyd, Motor Trend Editor-in-Chief Ed Lowe, and Motor Trend Food and Beverage, Motor Trend Senior Feature Editor Johnny Lieberman. We're excited to bring you our first ever live Wide Open Throttle episode. We have a couple of special guests joining us during the program, and later on we'll be answering some of your questions. So be sure you comment in the comments section so that we can answer some of your questions. But first I'll ask you guys, so what makes this week so special?
You know, I think you just need to walk around here and see what's in the parking lot, see what you see on the way up here. If you love cars, truly, I can't think of another place to be in the world than right here, right now. Because just we were just talking as we were sitting down. Saw Enzo in the parking lot. I saw a Maserati MC12 coming down the Highway 68. Just full chat with a big wing on it.
I've been here 24 hours. I drove the new Panos. I drove a tuned-up Dean M5 with 645 horsepower. Saw the second Bentley ever made sitting on the first chassis. Was trying to chase down a convertible Aston-Martin DB4, and I got stuck behind a Tatra T97.
It happens all the time.
Sure,
It's
sure.
just- it's crazy.
Everywhere you look, it's just insanity.
Well, there's such a huge variety of cars here. It's not just about classic cars. There's modern cars. There's all sorts of new cars going on here as well.
I mean, look right over there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also not just one event either.
Yeah, I was at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca this morning. Hanging out with a friend of mine he's got the very first Lusso ever made, Ferrari Lusso. He's going to race it, and that's, by the way, is going to be like a $6 million car before the end of the weekend.
Sure.
And there was hanging out with another guy. He had a Triumph TR6. And it's incredible. It's the whole thing.
There really is something for everybody up here at Pebble Beach, and we're doing this on the Thursday afternoon, and you can sense the build-up in activity that's happening here. The place, there's more people around, there's more energy, there's more stuff going on. But there's a lot that's happened already, isn't there? I mean, we've had the Quail Rally that's been running around the hills here on the peninsula. We've had Pebble Beach Retro Auto. It's in at Spanish Bay where I'm staying. You can go there and get your memorabilia.
The tour, the Pebble Tour, whatever it's called.
The Tour d'Elegance.
Tour d'Elegance.
And that's for for cars that will compete on the lawn on Sunday. I mean, some of the most expensive automobiles
Basically
you'll
like
ever see.
proof that they run, right? That's kind of the thing.
Well, they have to drive on the lawn Sunday.
They
But
have to,
it's
but
shakedown.
Shakedown all the way on 17 Mile Drive, various stops. We were in Monterey earlier, and all the streets were blocked off. Tons of fans sitting around with cameras waiting for all these cars to show up for the little impromptu
And it's incredible. I mean, it was like, pre-war Rolls Royce, followed by a Talbot Lago Teardrop, followed by, just Bugatti. It's incredible. Sure. It's just incredible.
It's like Ferraris running everywhere.
Yeah,
all over the place.
3 Speciales parked in front of my hotel.
That's crazy.
And a McLaren P1 in the most iridescent green you have ever seen. I mean,
Green's good. The wheels in green, not so good.
Daniel described it as a psychotic bottle of scope.
Well, last night was the McCall's Motorworks Revival Hangar Party, and this is widely considered as being the event that kicks off the serious stuff here at Monterey Car Week. So I think we've got a clip. Let's have a bit of a look at what happened last night. We were all there. We all had a great time.
This white Venom GT right here, special order customer car. Instead of a paltry 1,200 horsepower, it makes 1,450 horsepower.
Okay, so I know it's a little dark here, but I finally found my favorite vehicle, the McCall's Motorworks, and it's this 1962 Mustang 1 concept. This is one of one out of the Henry Ford Museum, and it's basically everything the 1964 and a half Mustang wasn't.
Tonight is these Singer Porsches, and the coolest thing about this Porsche is this amazing 3.8-liter air-cooled engine.
The 202.
I think the first car ever shown in the Museum of Modern Art in New York. There's a lot happening over the next few days. We've got the Rolex Monterey Motorsports reunion, we've got the Quail, we've got Corso Italiano, we've got auctions, we've got parties, we've got the concept car launch. But, of course, we have the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance, the event that really anchors this whole week here. And I'd like to welcome to the panel Sandra Button, Chairman of the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance. Welcome, Sandra.
Welcome.
Now, Sandra, you've been involved with the Concours, I think you told me, 29 years, and you've been chairman of the event since 2002. Is this a labour of love?
Well, it's so much fun all year long, and then all of a sudden this week it's like Christmas every year. I mean, it's really fun and great people. I mean, car people are the best.
Is this the concours that every serious car collector in the world wants to win? I mean, there are a number of very high-profile events, but Pebble Beach seems to be right up there. Is this the one?
It absolutely is. It's like winning the gold medal in the Olympics of cars. And I think that, you know, I've only been involved 29 years. The event's been around for 64. And a lot of people that came before me really made some great decisions. And one of the decisions was to have the cars eligible for Best of Show only if they win their class. And you have to be first in class, and it's tough to win.
Yep.
And so they first have to do that, and then they make it into the winner's circle, and then only those winners are considered for Best of Show. And it's a tough competition, and the judges are really sharp.
Is it tough for you personally? Like after the judging, after the dust settles over you, do you get people come up to you and say, hey, what, I mean,
I mean, it's important to win, and it's kind of like telling somebody their kid or their dog isn't pretty, right? You know, they work so hard on this car, and they love it, and they spend years researching and getting it ready, and they want to do it right. That's the best part of it all, is that they want to get the car just right. And then when it doesn't win, amazing amount of disappointment, because they've worked hard.
So I'm amazed every year, just the quality and variety of the lawn. It's just incredible. And could you maybe just quickly walk us through the selection process? Like how does my car get invited, or how does a car get invited to be on the lawn?
Well, we normally have about 28 different classes of cars, and maybe about 8 of those are particular to that year. You know,
Right.
We don't have them, like this year we have Tatra, Ruxton. We've never had them as featured marks before. And they're typical of how we get our featured marks, is that somebody who's enthusiastic about the brand comes up to me and says, I got an idea. Can we bring Ruxtons here? And the guy who did that, he brought it to me 4 years ago. So that it takes multiple years to
Sure.
get, the classes organized. And then some people apply with cars, and some people we chase them down because we want the very best. And so it's a combination.
There seems to be a Pebble Beach type of car.
Oh.
I think we're having a minor technical issue. The
live
joys of
TV,
doing
here we
live-
go.
Joys of doing live broadcasting, but I think we'll be back on air soon. I've noticed over the years there seems to be a particular type of car that does very well at Pebble Beach. And I look back in the records, I think since the concours started, a post-war car, last one Best in Show in 1954. When do you think a post-war car will win Best in Show again?
Well, there's a number of cars this weekend that have a really great chance, so we could see it happen on Sunday.
Is this the hot tip? The hot tip.
Could. We haven't had an antique win for a while.
That's true,
And,
that's
some
true.
Brass
years-
era.
One year we had a great preservation car that I thought had a real run for it. So once they get in the winner's circle, it's kind of like saying, well, who's the prettiest girl in the room? There's different tastes
Right.
for everybody, but there's some. We have more post-war cars on the field this year than we do pre-war. So
And is that abnormal?
yeah, it's been trending that way. I mean, there's more interest in them. I mean, we used to just have a few Ferrari classes and really not much more post-war, and all of a sudden it's half the field.
Right.
Do you think this is reflecting a demographic change with the collectors? You had your brass car guys, you had your Duesenberg guys. Are we now starting to get people who grew up with these cars as kids and maybe fantasized about owning them, and now they have the ability to do it?
Yeah, I think it's partly that. And if you figure even 30 years ago, some of these cars weren't that old, or they didn't seem that rare, and all of a sudden we realize, Fangio raced that car. This is a piece of history.
Sure.
And it should be.
You've been doing this a long time now. Is there anything that surprises you anymore with the event? Is there, a car that surprises you, a happening that surprises you?
Well, I'm kind of excited this year that Norman Dewis is coming with the Jaguar
Yep.
that he raced, and I think, to me, those moments maybe are fading a little bit as we have fewer of those people around. But it surprises me how emotional people get when they get near the people that made the history with the cars. You forget, and then you see them together, or you see somebody watching Norman touch a car, or get in it, and they get emotional because it's like seeing history.
I'll never. I met Sterling Moss, sitting watching, by the ramp, and 5 years ago, and I've seen him every year. I don't know if he knows me, but hey, how you doing? and it's incredible.
Oh, he was surrounded in Carmel today, and I just thought, Sterling still has rock star status with these people.
Absolutely,
it's great.
He is definitely a rock star, and I like how it brings history to life by having the people, as you say, who were perhaps intimately involved in these cars, either racing them or designing them or engineering and being involved. You've helped make this weekend bigger and bigger over the years. I think you were instrumental in the Tour d'Elegance happening, and the Retro Auto Show, which has some fantastic memorabilia that you can buy. And every year I've come here, this is I think my 11th, this just seems to get more and more stuff happening. How much bigger can this whole thing get?
Well, every 10 years or so it seems to bulge, and then a few events sort of fade away and they don't make it. I always hope that we're getting better, maybe not necessarily bigger, but there's a little bit of, and the car hobby has so much traction right now. People are really, there's more and more interest, and of course car values, bring some interest as well, but I'm glad to see that, in my day, you were first in line to get your driver's license when you were 16 here in the States.
Yeah.
And we see fewer young people in such a rush, and I'm hoping that goes the other way, that people get excited about cars again, because it's fantastic to see in the collector car hobby.
Sure.
What do you think about all the new vehicle manufacturers that have been here over the past couple of years? Is it, putting more of a shine on the whole weekend?
I think they do a great job. I think they're using Pebble Beach like they would an auto show, and with good reason, because the people that come here they're great car buyers, and if they go spend millions of dollars on a collector car, then buying a new McLaren or a Bentley seems like not that much money.
I was just I was just in the Bentley house, and they're doing this whole bespoke thing inside, and the PR guy told me that they had 200 appointments all filled for customers to come in there and spec their car, pick the color, pick the leather, pick the wood trim. It's genius. They're here.
Yeah, and I ran into my buddy Martin last night. He goes, "Hey, what do you think of the i8?" And Matt from BMW is there. I was like, "Matt, you got 10 of them. Can he drive one?" He's driving one. So.
And I saw Horacio Pagani at McCall
hanging out by himself.
Yeah, I know. He's always by himself.
He's a great guy.
But I said, "How's business?" He said, "Going quite well." He said, "I had a customer I sold a Huayra to last year. He's come back tonight and ordered a second one."
Yeah.
So there's this whole dynamic that this is where car people gather from all over the world to celebrate the culture, the machinery, and the people.
And speaking of Pagani, my question is, okay, 50 years from now, what is new today? What's going to be on the lawn? Do you have any?
Well, if you look at values, I would say certainly, there's some special bodied McLaren. I mean, you kind of can follow what's going to be next.
Write this down.
Yeah.
He's calling his broker. He's the only one who can afford one.
Well, actually, I was just thinking, you have some interesting insider knowledge. You mentioned Bruxton, and I mean, you knew about that a few years back. I mean, this is like people could make a run on whatever parts and getting a car going.
What's going to be
hey,
in
what's
4 years?
The mark.
I do have people say, I want a car on the lawn every year. What should I buy?
Right.
Because they really want to be here. They want to, be part of the magic and have fun with their cars.
Very cool.
That's amazing. Thanks, Sandra. Guys, I mentioned some of the other events that are occurring here this week. I mean, what are some of your favorites, Mike?
I love the Monterey historic races, walking around the paddock and seeing all the amazing race cars from all different eras, and just astonishing stuff. And to see them on the track too is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I'm sort of a glutton for the early morning. I really look forward to Dawn Patrol, watching the vehicles sneak in. And but honestly, Motorworks last night blew my mind.
Oh,
that was my first time there.
I thought it was 2 airplanes and a Cobra. I had no idea.
Yeah, it was awesome. So
well, that one-of-a-kind Dodge concept car with the gear body and just stuff like that sitting there, and the little Fiat Multiplo.
And then you got a Toyota FT1 in there too. It was crazy.
Crazy. That was a cool event.
I like the Quail because I think it's a beautifully curated mix of classics, and there's a lot of post-war cars, a lot of racing cars there, and of course the latest exotic eye candy. I think one year I was there, I think 1/10 of the world's production of Veyrons were there.
Yep. And last year they had a Huayra parked behind a Koenigsegg, whatever it was, the Gera R or whatever. It's crazy.
Well, Concorso Italiano, I mean, if you love Italian cars, you can't miss that event, surely. I mean, and it's good. What I like about Concorso is that it's not just the mega dollar Ferraris that are represented there.
Pink Mary Kay Cadillac Allantes. They qualify and they show up.
They do?
Really? Yeah.
I suppose the bodies
Pininfarina bodies built in, made in Italy, flown over on a custom 747. And they're always they're shoved in the back.
Chrysler TC by Maserati?
They're there.
That's right. There you go.
Italian. I was going to say, I've become a sucker for the auctions.
Have you?
I just...
You like watching people spend money?
It's just such... It's,
You have a good story. You were sitting with a certain board member of a certain huge car company.
Oh, Dr. Pefkin. Yeah, we had a very good time. He was really tracking them too.
Right.
But no, I mean, it's, last year I was at Gooding when the Nart Spider, perhaps inexplicably, went for 27 million, and it was expected to go for only 9 or 10 million. And there's this bidding, crazy money. Guys like fighting each other to throw money at this car, and it's like
making it rain.
And yeah, but the cars are just also great, especially. And what's cool is all the auctions. You go to the previews. It's like private little mini car shows. Yeah, right. It's incredible.
I think this year the auctions are going to be especially interesting because I think we're looking possibly at some world record prices for Ferraris.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and for not just for world record prices for four-wheeled vehicles. Period. And Ferraris on top of that, but yeah, I mean the 250 GTO,
the Speciale, 275 Speciale.
Yeah, the 275 GTB long nose, right. And then the one I think is actually going to surprise everybody, and I know you feel different, but the Tre Posti. So it's the 3-seat Ferrari. It's the center seating, just like a McLaren F1, but 20 years earlier.
1965, wasn't it?
66.
Yep.
First mid-engine Ferrari. V12 road car. I think it was the first mid-engine Ferrari.
It's built on a Fiero chassis, and it's got a...
My problem with that car is I think it looks like a slightly too fat Dino.
But it's got Enzo's involved, Pininfarina's involved, and Cinetti's involved. It's got the provenance. I think that's the one. Might be 9 figures. Might be the first $100 million car. So might the 250 GTO.
That's an awful lot of money for a car. It's staggering.
Paintings cost more. That's true.
There's some great parties going on here. I mean, I think from the automotive media side, the car companies like to.
Jaguar, really trying to make the Jaguar party. I missed it the last 2 years, and there've been Playmates, I guess.
Playmates, Christina Hendricks.
They're huge car fans, I guess. So that's why Jaguar has them. That's what I'm interested in. I don't know about you, Johnny.
I like the Bentley Signature Party on Saturday night, which always keeps me away from Dawn Patrol because I always say I'm going to go for one drink and then get wheelbarrowed home. But that's a great party.
But there are some parties, there are a lot of parties that go on here that really we in the Fourth Estate never hear about because they're private parties or they're parties for collectors or special interest, real serious buyers of cars. I mean, the amount of networking that goes on here. We just almost see just a glimpse of it.
Yeah, and the amount of, by the way, you got to mention the amount of net worth here. So we're not invited to.
Oh yeah, I was at the Monterey Jet Center and Gulfstream after. The big one, G550s, landing. Like, okay, all right,
it's
some money here.
But it's it all gets back to the cars. I do like the. It's hard to have a favourite event because I love going out to Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca, and seeing the historics there. Our very good friend, of course, Randy Popst, is out there driving tomorrow one of the original BMW M1 Pro cars.
Saturday, 10:27 a.m. Saturday the M1.
Yep. And one of the original Pro cars, and I know he's pretty thrilled with that.
Yep.
And
he's become a celebrity, by the way. I saw him cruising around.
Thanks to this channel.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, well, the best example of the Rolex to me was many years ago seeing Sterling Moss drive the 722, which I'm a huge fan of, as you know, of Moss and Amelia Amelia, and to have that car out there and see that car running on the track. I think Jay Leno got the opportunity to ride alongside with Sterling in that.
That's incredible. Yeah, I mean. Yeah, it'll just never happen again. It's one of those.
It gets back to what Sandra said. This stuff is emotional for people. It's history.
Yeah, I mean, like 4 years ago, they had a Dan Gurney car class. It was a race of all of Gurney's cars and Dan Gurney, and you know, it's just like, where else are you going to see that? I mean, it's just fabulous.
And you know, I'd like to thank Sandra for the time she gave us early on and some of the insights. Very interesting. I mean, you know, Bruxton becoming a
Tatra.
Well, I'm very excited about seeing the Tatras.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's how I started a Motor Trend, was, you know, my buddy's Tatra. And by the way, the value of those has gone from like, you know, 10 to 15 grand for one to like way over 100 grand after this weekend, you know, through the roof. And yeah, they're the coolest.
You should have bought low.
The one that was in Motor Trend Classic he bought it for $9,000, and I think it's on the lawn.
Speaking of Motor Trend Classic, a small plug here. We, again, as part of Infiniti supporting us during Monterey Car Week, we've produced a special one-off edition of Motor Trend Classic, packed with all the usual eclectic mix of classic cars. Motor Trend Classic is a project that was very near and dear to our hearts. You know, I founded it, I think in 2006, with the goal of seeing if we could produce a really high quality classic car magazine out of America. And it's been an up and down journey, so it's so great to see this back. And we've got some really, really cool stuff in there, haven't we, Ed?
Yeah, absolutely. And it, including a guide to Monterey Car Week, what to wear, you know, how to stay hydrated, like take pictures, and everything you need to know about seeing this event. We have a great comparison test in there. We have this beautiful Jaguar on the cover, and this issue will be on newsstands in about 2 weeks, so definitely pick it up.
And it's the first appearance, I think, of an Infiniti in Motor Trend Classic, the Q45, a museum piece they have down in Tennessee.
Car helped launch the brand.
Yep,
absolutely.
Well, I remember, I'm old enough to remember driving that car when it was launched, and I mean, that was an amazing era for the Japanese automotive industry. This,
absolutely,
the wealth, the power. I remember going to the 1989 Tokyo Motor Show, and I think arguably the greatest motor show of all time because of just the variety of vehicles there. And the Q45, if Toyota was going to try and be a new Mercedes-Benz, I thought the Q45 did a pretty good job of being a BMW rival. The car was beautifully built, beautifully finished, and great fun to drive.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
So we also, one thing I like looking forward to, and I think you like this in particular, Mike, is a concept car launch.
Oh yeah, I think I love seeing the cars there. There's going to be, the Veneno is going to be there, which is like Ed and I like to talk about. It's an internet car. It's a car that'll just blow up your website.
You'll never see it in person. You'll only see it online or on your mobile phone.
Actually, we do know a guy.
We do know a guy.
Jag Project 7, the Aston DC 100. Some really cool looking cars that are supposed to be there. So it's great to see that stuff, and it's great to see people in companies continuing to do concepts, because I think they need to do that.
Do you think, and again, Sandra touched on this, you know, this is being seen as an alternative to a regular auto show. We've seen this phenomenon happen in the UK with the Goodwood Festival of Speed. You go to that event, yes, there's classic cars going up the driveway past Charles March's front door. But, you know, Audi's stand at Goodwood is bigger than the stand it has at the Frankfurt Auto Show. I think we're starting to see, I mean, this pavilion, the Infiniti Performance Pavilion we're in now, is a big space. It's just like an auto show exhibit.
Yeah. Well, I definitely think for certain manufacturers, this event makes a lot of sense in terms of actually, you know, getting to the consumer, getting to the guy who's ready to sign, ready to buy a vehicle. Is it necessarily brands like Infiniti, Lexus? You know, there's Hyundai and Kia on Pier Hay Hill. I think that's maybe debatable, but definitely as we talk to the guys at Bentley, they're like, we are absolutely selling cars.
For
like,
the high end of the
this
market,
event,
it seems to really work well. And, you know, is there a way to dilute it so you can, you know, come check out the new Chevy Cruze? I don't know. But it's a lot of fun, you know, and it's kind of, you know, we've all been, I grew up going to auto shows, and they're cool, but, you know, it's what it is, and it's kind of always that way every year. And this is kind of, you know, it's more live, more electric, and just,
well, you get the sense that this is, it brings the machinery to life. Again, reminds you that there's people, there's context, there's culture here, and, you know, we've got the Infiniti Eau Rouge concept there, which, you know, if you're going to make a statement of intent about what you want to do, this is a pretty good place to show that sort of vehicle, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's an October cover of Automobile. We had a drive of it out in England. What? It's a fantastic car.
I think he might have scooped you.
Sorry, man.
But the other thing too is, you go to auto shows and they try very hard to make them kind of interactive, right? They'll have virtual stuff. Yeah. They'll have a Jeep you can go over a mountain of dirt with, and maybe they'll have an electric car you can run around in a basement. But it's static, it's alive. Every car here has to be driven here, basically. Almost every car. Yep. You got the track, you got all the tours, you got all the rallies. Just walking around the streets and seeing what's parked, Yeah. And yeah, I think it's more fun than a car show. Absolutely.
It's a little more expensive too, though.
It's a lot more expensive than it's not $11 plus with a soda and canned top.
Right. It's kind of tough for, I think, a lot of regular folks to get here, but it's worth the
guy
effort.
on my Facebook page, not sorry to cut you off, but he was saying, today he said, hey, Thursday's the day to do it if on the cheap, and he said you can basically sneak in to Monterey. And all the cars are here. You can go and stand on the street and watch the tour go by, and that's most of the cars. And he's like, I'm taking my son. This is great for us. Yeah. So you can do it.
Oh, that's actually my buddy Chris Connors.
Chris. Yeah, it was Chris.
So remember, if
you can also buy a ticket to Monterey.
So remember, if you are watching, please put your comments or questions in the comments section on the Motor Trend YouTube channel. I think we may have already had some questions. We have some, Ed, do we?
Yeah, absolutely. We got some today via Instagram. Ed Schudel, I can't read my handwriting. He writes, what amazes you most every year about #Monterey Car Week? I think we covered it a little bit. For me, I would say the patience of the people who live here, because oh my God,
they're renting their house for like $8,000 an hour. They're fine.
This is true, but like to take over this peninsula the way this event has, that they're shutting down traffic in one direction, saying it the other way. Yeah. I mean, it's a mess when you get into town. Any of the towns, Carmel, Monterey, it's ridiculous. That amazes me, Mike.
The whole thing. I mean, like yesterday, walked in. There's just a Ferrari sitting there on the corner. I mean, it's just stunning. All the cars and all the things you can see.
All the booze.
Yep.
Every year it happened. I'm on the lawn. Sunday is the last day of a long week, and I've been up as early as I can get up, looking at 250 cars, and I'll just kind of catch myself and looking out. From the lawn over the bay, and there's that one rock in the bay, and there's always a big yacht parked there, and I'm just like, what am I doing here? This is so, I'm just so lucky to be a part of this, And every year, that's I always see that. I'm just like, wow.
Well, it's the cars. It keeps coming back to me for the cars. I've seen cars here that I grew up in Australia, only ever reading about in books, and to be able to see them here and moving and people driving them, to me is always fantastic, to see a blower Bentley go past. I went for a ride in one last year. I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like Richard Charlesworth drove in with the 1920s, the second Bentley ever built. He drove in and shook my hand. It's like
nice. And another question here from Instagram also. Joe Sagafi14 asks, what cars that are on sale now do you think will be future classics? I think that's a speculator's dream question. What do we think?
I think if we knew the answer to that, we'd be retired on our own island in the Caribbean, wouldn't we?
I know the answer, I just can't afford it. The Zonda, Pagani Zonda F, that thing that was sitting there last night at McCall. Absolutely. I mean,
I bet like a McLaren 12, just a regular 12C before they went to 650S.
Oh no, the MP4 12C.
MP4 12C, yeah. First year, before they switched it up, dropped the MP4, and then dropped the car totally and went to the 650S. I mean, that's going to be one of these. Remember when they did that? People are like, no, I only remember the 650S and the P1. Nope, there was this car that came out before.
And I think a little bit of bespoke helps.
Yes, absolutely.
Like our friend with the Veneno just got a Huayra that it's a one-off custom. It's called the Le Mans Elisa.
Le Mans Elisa.
Le Mans Elisa. I love the name, but it has a name, right? So it's a Mormon Meteor. Cars with names do well in terms of the collective car consciousness. It's slightly different engine, So I think like stuff like that will be the big time like show winners.
Yeah, I can see that.
Stuff like, more pedestrian stuff, maybe like a Boss 302 Mustang or something
Absolutely.
like that.
2 years on sale.
Yeah, very limited
Hellcat.
production.
I feel like a lot of those guys,
yeah.
though, they're smart enough about it now. They're buying them and then just jamming into a garage and dropping a car cover on it and starting it up like once a month, for the next 50 years, waiting for the value to peak. But it's not a bad game to play, I guess, if you have the money.
If you have the money in the space. But again, you look at everyone thought the Buick GNX.
Oh, its day is coming.
Its day is coming, but I was just talking to a guy last night at McCall's who said, yeah, I bought one, I brought it to auction, and there was one that went before it, so I lost money. So it's not a slam dunk. You can't just go buy a Z28. Although I think the Camaro Z28 without AC, because no one's going to buy that. If you can buy one of those, that could be valuable.
Or a Cadillac CTS-V wagon
With the
manual.
The manual.
What they build about
The
six.
unicorn car.
Yep.
Built about six.
They actually built a lot more than that. They kept building them and building them. I think they got over 2,000.
Mercedes-Benz 6x6, definitely.
Maybe the
It
Tesla
doesn't
Roadster.
fit in a 747 to fly over here, though. That's the right. Tesla Roadster, yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
one.
Now, we've talked about the concept car lawn and what we might see here this year. Well, our next guest is very familiar with the concept car lawn, having had a couple of concepts he's been responsible displayed there. And I'd like to welcome Shiro Nakamura, who's the Chief Creative Officer of Infiniti Motor Company. Welcome, Shiro.
Very nice to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Thanks for coming.
Shiro, you did your degree in transportation design at Art Center just down
Correct.
the coast at
Right,
Pasadena,
right.
so you must have known about Pebble Beach for a
it
long
wa-
time.
Yes, it was 1980.
98.
So almost 5 years ago. And well, I came here, but it was almost like a studying.
Yeah.
It's less enjoying because we had let's say in the school, we have a class to make a very precise renderings with a shiny body, with chrome part and so on. And a lot of students came here to take a photograph
Yeah.
to study how reflection and the chrome and the body works together. So to me, I came here, but I'm more like seriously taking a photograph, how we can make a nice rendering based on this and so on.
So that was 1988.
No, 1980.
1980.
1980.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
So what was on the lawn in 1980?
I don't remember.
Good answer.
So how many years have you been a judge here at the Pebble Beach Concours?
I think I'm going to be a 10th anniversary this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's very quick.
So you come across from Japan specifically to do this?
Exactly. Every year I come here for our holiday.
Yep.
Very luckily, in this week in Japan is complete holiday off.
Yeah.
So to me, it's a combination of a business and leisure.
Yeah.
It's a very nice, mixture of two things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you've been a Concours judge for 10 years, you have a slightly different perspective on this event. What makes it special for you?
For this event,
Yeah.
well, I think first things, this is the biggest, most richest range of the classic cars you can see at one time, right? So I don't see anything else like this. So first of all, I come here, I have a sort of discovery of the new classic cars, which I have never seen before.
Absolutely.
So that is always inspiring for us. I know not only me, it's a couple of other designers is also coming, many. I'm encouraging our young designers to come here.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think it's important for, especially a luxury brand, people who work for that brand to understand an event like Pebbles?
Definitely. I think how you build a brand, it cannot be done in a very short period of time. It takes 45 years.
Right.
There are many, established luxury brands. Maybe 50 years ago, it's not, right?
Right.
So to see how they were doing 40, 50 years ago, or even 60 years ago.
Sure.
So it's and then connecting the dots, what they have done and today. I think it's which means our brand might be 30, 40 years later going to be one of the classic brand.
That's a long-term it's a long-term goal in an industry which is very short-term driven, isn't it? It's very hard.
But particularly
Build
for
that.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I like it too. Yeah, I'd love to produce it.
Very good.
Yeah, I think it's to me is learning the spirit of the brand and passion of the brand. So that is very important for for designers, not only for designers. If you want to build a brand, you have to show your passion and the spirits clearly in a car.
So, do you have a favorite period or a favorite type of classic car?
Right. I have two time zone. I mean, one is pre-war, which is 90s, 30 to mid 40s. It's a sort of flamboyant and a very romantic.
Yes.
Dry hair, Drage,
Minerva.
yeah,
all that good
and
stuff,
also I really like pre-war. I mean Alfa Romeo, touring body Alfa Romeo.
Oh yeah.
That is, I think, to me before like a mid 30. I love the dry and the flamboyant design. Might be a little bit decorative.
Sure.
But like a touring Alfa Romeo is almost perfect balance of function, nothing at all. It's pure beauty of the proportion, the surface, and the small details.
So you must have loved last year.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was the
Yeah.
best. I was shocked.
Yeah. I think it's to me it's one of the ideal time is late 30s, which is Italian, and the other time is post-war, which is to me is a 60 to mid 70. Particularly mid 60 to me is a most attractive time. One is because so many new cars was born in US. Like I was looking at the Mustang with 65.
Yep.
And Corvette and in
C2
Italy,
Corvette, 63.
Yeah. And Italy like a Ferrari 275,
E-Type Jaguar.
yeah, E-Type Jaguar, many cars which we think currently is a classic.
Yeah.
But at that time by the way, I was born in 1950, which is exactly the same time Pebble Beach started.
Wow.
My age and the age of the Pebble Beach is same.
Yeah.
So it means 65 means I was 15. So I was looking at lots of magazines. It's to me, it's not classic, the real time, and my ambition, my dream to become designer is almost because I'm leading the 1960s books, American GMs and Ford and Italian Pininfarina, Bertone. It so much inspired me to become a car designer.
And was it, Japan's industry? Japan was a very different country in 1965. Did it look like, did you think that the Japanese industry could compete with what GM was doing, or?
No, I don't think. No, I cannot imagine.
Yeah.
Even it's rare to see. Like this mid 60s cars. What I said, almost impossible to see on the road.
Yeah.
Some show.
Yep.
Of course, but very limited show, and also the mainly by book, particularly in black and white. It's not a color.
Yes.
So you have to use lots of imagination how car looks. I draw the cars on the books very often, and I studied a lot. So still to me, it's a standard of beauty is mid 60s.
So you were looking outward, obviously. You were looking at American cars, you were looking at European cars, Italian cars, right? What was the first homegrown car, the first Japanese car that really hit you and said, wow, this one, I think.
I think it's also in the mid 60s, we have very nice cars in Japan.
Yeah.
One of the example is a 240Z,
Yes.
like mid 60s. And by the way, I have, maybe you don't know, I have one Nissan Classic, which called Silvia, first generation Silvia. I just bought a couple years ago.
Oh, cool.
That was one of my favorite cars. So mid 60s is a very interesting time for Japanese car design.
Sure.
lots of people studied abroad, even our center. I mean, they started design, education with the design started our center. Quite a few people went to our center. They came back from our center.
Yeah.
And also, we had lots of consultant, people from outside of Japan, like Italian, German, or many.
Sure.
So lots of influence of Western influence came to Japan in the mid-60s. So not only US and Europe, even in Japan, mid-60s, one of the most exciting time for designing.
Toyota 2000 GT.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Honda 1300.
Yes.
Beautiful coupe.
Yes.
But it was an easier time for a designer then, wasn't it?
Exactly. Exactly.
There are cars that you look back at the 60s,
Yes.
and the volumes and the forms, and you can't build them today because of the regulation.
No, that is always I see, so-called classics. It's much more freedom.
Sure.
No regulation, no safety regulations.
Little tiny A-pillar.
A-pillar, no federal bumpers.
Yeah.
It's a great time.
We had Ian Kellum on, and he said that the only freedom left is the back. No one regulates the rear end. They regulate the sides and the front and the top.
Exactly. Right? Do you think so? I don't know.
That's what he said.
Even rear has a lot of, license plate location.
Sure, yeah.
Bumper height.
And particularly now you have to accommodate all different size of license plate from all over the world. It's not used to be like particular for U.S. cars designed for the side of the U.S. It's nice recess.
Yes.
Now it's a recess becoming bigger and bigger because you have to accommodate any type of license plate. So less and less freedom. But that is our business. So
that's your challenge, though, is to work within. It's like with Formula One. There, we got the last year's Infiniti Red Bull Formula One car. Very tight set of technical regulations.
Right.
Your role is to try and make a beautiful car that still meets all the regulations.
Yeah, still, you can make beautiful car and not beautiful car.
Right.
Even the regulation is there. Sure. Not necessarily. We can produce the same design. Within the very many constraints. So how you can make a beautiful, attractive car, that is our job.
Okay, well, I've got one last question.
Yes.
Lots of active designers, as you mentioned, are judges here.
Yes.
What can a car designer of today learn from old cars?
Well, we are not coming to try to make a copy of classic car, definitely. That's not possible. But I always talk to our designers. Feel the the energy, as I said before, the passion and the braveness of the designer.
Yep.
Because behind the car always there was a designer or engineer, right?
Yep.
So please imagine the designer or engineer who worked on this. How at that time, let's say for example 1930. All of a sudden, new shape is coming. At that time, how he was creative and he was challenging. That is a very good things we can learn from seeing all different cars in the same period.
Yeah.
Because you see some cars looks very different even at the same time.
Yep. Yep. Well, thanks very much, Shiro, and that's all we have time for on this edition of Wide Open Throttle. So thanks for joining us, and please make sure you tune in on Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, for another episode live from the Infiniti Performance Pavilion here at Pebble Beach. Until then, goodbye.
Cheers. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Cheers. Cheers. Cheers. Cheers.
Champ.